This is our final Girls Get Set team session of the 23-24 programme, and today it's the turn of GE Vernova to shine a spotlight on some of the careers that you can do when you're in the renewable energy sector. So I don't want to give too much away about our three speakers. I think I've already mentioned their names, which is Charlotte, Caitlin and Berenice, because we're going to start things off by playing a little bit of a game to warm everyone up and to help you get to know them a little bit. So if we go to the next slide. So you might remember this from our last career spotlight. So each of our speakers has shared with us a fun fact about themselves. But we'd like you to try and guess which fun fact goes with which person. So we have Charlotte, Berenice and Caitlin. One of them has been skydiving. One of them has 3 belts in kickboxing. And one of them has hand-fed a sloth. I'm definitely really keen to find out the answers to these and ask them a few questions. Okay, so let's have a little look at this. So Charlotte, have you been skydiving?
Well, I have actually, but it's not my fun fact.
It's not your fun fact. Ah, so you have done it. What was it like?
It was really cool, really cool.
Okay, well let's maybe ask Berenice, and have you been skydiving?
Yes, yes,
Aha!
And I found it quite fun.
Where did you do it?
In Mexico, so it was a couple hours away from Mexico City.
And were you scared?
I was just so nervous, but once you jump, it's amazing.
Wow, very cool. Well, that's a very interesting way to start to get to know you, Berenice, so thank you for sharing that. Okay, so I'm going to see, so let's see, Caitlin, have you got 3 belts in kickboxing?
I wish I did, but unfortunately I'm not a very sporty person, and no, I don't have 3 belts in kickboxing. And apparently I'm the only person that's not been skydiving, so I feel like I'm being left out a little bit here. I think I need to get that sorted.
Okay, so then by process of elimination, it must be Charlotte who has 3 belts in kickboxing.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit more about that, Charlotte.
I started it as like a form of exercise and a bit of a stress release when I was doing my A-levels, and then just really enjoyed it and ended up doing 3 belts. And yeah.
You still do it now?
I do it every now and again. There's a club like fairly locally to where I live at home. So yeah, I join in every now and again, but I haven't continued to get more belts or anything like that. It's just kind of for fun, really.
Yeah. I wonder if anyone on in any of the schools does kickboxing. Let us know if you do. Yeah, I've tried a tiny bit. I really enjoyed it. I think you're right. It's a great stress reliever. So Caitlin, tell us about your fun fact then, the remaining fun fact.
Yes, so sloths are my favourite animals. They always have been. I'm like one of those people every year for Christmas and for my birthday, I always get sloth teddies and sloth themed water bottles and all of that sort of thing for birthday and Christmas. So for my birthday last year, my boyfriend surprised me by taking me to the Lake District, and there's a zoo there that has a sloth where you can do a sloth experience. So I got to meet Stanley the sloth and feed him all of his favourite foods.
And what do you know when you first started to love sloths? Can you pinpoint it?
Probably when I discovered what they are. I feel like you don't really think about animals in other countries, but I feel like I relate to sloths. They're very relaxed. It's how I would like to be. If I was going to be an animal, I'd like to be a sloth. I feel like they've got a very easy life. They just hang about in trees all day and move very slowly.
I feel like I need to know a bit more about sloths.
Yeah, it was a 2-toed sloth that I met, but there's 2-toed sloths and there's 3-toed sloths.
Okay, yes, brilliant. Okay, well, we're going to move on now and hear a bit more from Charlotte. She's going to talk a little bit about herself, but actually she's not going to reveal exactly what job she does initially. So there's going to be a chance in a couple of minutes to try to make a guess about that. But over to you, Charlotte.
Thanks. So I'm Charlotte, as you probably gathered that now, with 3 belts in kickboxing. So I've got, I'm 23. I went to UCL. So I graduated from UCL in 2022. I've got 3 horses at home and have ridden since I was about 4 years old. Max, Laurie and Bally. So they keep me very busy. I compete most weekends and ride before or after work pretty much every day. I was on the England under-25 team, dressage team, when I was doing my A-levels and the start of uni as well. So that kept me very busy. And I'm keen in the gym and do a bit of running as well, just to keep myself fit to compete. Do quite a lot of show jumping now as well. I live in Devon, and the office is in Hartlepool, so it's about a 7-hour commute for me when I need to go up to the office, which is about once a month, which is really nice because I get to see everyone and get to see what's happening. And I've done my offshore training as well, but I don't go offshore all the time, but I won't give too many clues away. I've got 2 dogs at home, Ralph and Rolo, who are brother and sister. And yeah, I live in Devon near the beach, which is really lovely, because I get to go and sea swim when it's really warm in the summer, and barbecues on the beach and nice walks along the coast paths and things like that. So I'll now go into a bit more about the skills I use every day, to kind of give you a bit more of a clue as to what I do on a day-to-day basis. So teamwork is the first one all the time. And project management kind of ties in with that, working in the project management team. And it's a big team. We're on the Dogger Bank project, so it's a massive wind farm. There's lots of us that do different roles and we all need to work together. So communication then comes into that. We need to communicate all the time, every day, learn what's going on, learn what's happening, talk about how we can help each other, and communicate what needs to be done and how to do it in the best way possible, efficiently, and to get the job done. As I said, I work in Devon, so it's a long way away. I need good communication skills so that I can know what's happening on site in Hartlepool, but also we need really good communication with our offshore team to learn what's happening offshore and how we can help them, and to know the progress that they're making offshore. Maths and physics, I don't want to give too much away, but I use them. Obviously it's very intricate, the way we need to build our turbines, the way we need to assemble them, whether that be onshore or offshore, and it's important we get it right. English language, I speak to the client, I speak to the team, lots of people higher up than me, and writing emails is very important, having good grammar, writing in a professional manner. Excel and Word, use them all day, every day. So it's very helpful to have different Excel tools in your memory so that you can make things a lot easier for yourself, which I've definitely learned on the job. Okay, so I'll give you a couple of options and see if you can guess what my job is. So do you think I'm a quality engineer? So it's really important that the quality of what we're building and manufacturing is up to scratch. So I could be an engineer that goes out on site and make sure that the quality of our components is where it needs to be. A wind turbine technician, so I go offshore and build the turbines and service them and make sure that they're working correctly. Or a project management engineer, so an engineer in the project management team, doing lots of various different tasks and engineering the different checklists that they might need to use. okay, I'm a project management engineer. I work in the project management team. So if I was a wind turbine technician, I'd probably be going offshore much more. But I've just done my training so that I can go offshore if I'm, well, hopefully I will go offshore in the future, but it'll be more of a learning experience rather than working manually. So yeah, I'm a project management engineer on the Dogger Bank project, working for GE Vernova, and yeah, it's really great. I love it. It's different every single day, and you never know quite what's coming. But that's part of the fun of it because it's so varied. You get to work with so many different people who've got different backgrounds, all across the world, and it's fascinating to learn so much about the offshore wind industry, but also different people's backgrounds. Everyone's come into this in different ways, and it's a relatively new industry, so it's quite nice because it feels like everyone's very much learning together. This project's going to be the biggest offshore wind farm in the world, so no one's built turbines of this size offshore, so it's all a learning curve for everyone. So coming in at a relatively, well, this is the very beginning of my career, so it's really nice to be learning with everyone rather than feeling like I'm really new and need to catch up with everyone else, which hopefully I will do, but it's nice that everyone's learning together. So I'll give you a bit more information about how I started. So I did my A levels back in 2019. I did biology, chemistry, maths, and then I did an AS in further maths. I had no idea what I wanted to do at uni. Absolutely not a clue. I knew I wanted to do something sciencey, something practical. I looked into physiotherapy, I looked into dentistry, but kind of nothing really particularly grabbed me. And then when I was in upper sixth, I went round to lots of different universities to their open days just to kind of see what they had on offer, see whether I liked the unis or not. And I thought I wanted to do biochemistry because it used 2 of my A levels, so I thought that'd be good. I enjoyed my A levels. I picked them because I enjoyed them, not because they're really nerdy or anything like that. And I thought it would give me a broad option of different jobs. So I looked at biochemistry, and then I went to UCL because my mum wanted to put me off going to London, and I ended up absolutely loving it. It's in the centre of London, but it feels very safe because it's a campus, and it was amazing. I went to the biochemical engineering talk, and there was the most amazing professor who spoke to us, and she was doing loads of really cool projects, and I walked out and I was like, that is the degree I want to do, because it just sounded so interesting, so broad, and used all of my A levels that I really enjoyed. So I came away thinking I want to do that, but then I had to get 3 A's to get in, which I didn't think I was going to manage, and I didn't think I was going to get selected, but I was very lucky to be offered a place, and then I just had to work really hard to get the grades, which thankfully I did. So yeah, I went to UCL in 2019 and did biochemical engineering, which was great. I loved it. It was super interesting. I had COVID in my second year, which meant I had a year at home rather than in London. But it was really cool because the department was very current and very relevant. So one of my lecturers was developing the COVID vaccine. And then in my third year, when we went back to uni, there was loads of COVID projects that we did. We did loads kind of developing different COVID therapies, or there was one time when we were in the lab and there was a big freeze drying machine, and there was the AstraZeneca vaccine being freeze dried to see if that we could administer the COVID vaccine through tablet form, because they're much easier to administer and keep rather than vaccines. But my degree was really varied. I did environmental engineering projects, which were relevant to what I do now. We did lots of green energy projects. renewable energy. We did lots of biopharmaceuticals, so developing drugs, cancer therapies, COVID vaccines, and food manufacturing, sustainable protein alternatives, like different growing different cultures to be different protein sources, like corn or things like that. So it was really varied and I absolutely loved it. So I did my 3 years and then graduated and tried to find a job. Searched high and low for something that I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to go into food manufacturing or renewable energy, but I kind of didn't really mind which. I had a passion for both and applied to loads and got rejected from pretty much everything. Which a lot of people do as they're graduating. It's really hard to find a job, but you just have to stay motivated that the right thing will fall into place in the end. So I was very lucky to be given a role as engineering intern within GE Vernova on the Dog Rank project. So I was an intern for a year, just learning about the project, learning how things work, learning who different people were, what the different things were. I'd never heard of a nacelle before I started. Learning, how project management works, because that was something very new to me. So I did project management courses, and then I did my offshore training, which was really great. I was definitely the only girl all of the time, but it was really fun. Super interesting. And then after my year's internship, I've been given the role as project management engineer. So it's still quite new, but yeah, it's great. And I really, really love it. It's really interesting and everyone's really nice. So I'll give you a bit more about what I do on a day-to-day, but I won't go into too much detail. So I produce checklists for technicians to use offshore, sorry. So that might be something like I'll get given a method statement of how things work, and I need to put it as a checklist for technicians to use. So have you tightened a bolt to this tension, or can you prove that you have? Take a picture for me and then move on to the next task. So it might be putting the tower onto the transition piece that's offshore, or putting the nacelle onto the tower, or something much smaller than that. Building the daily progress reports of the activities that are on site. So our client wants to know what happens on site all of the time. And I get sent lots of information from lots of different people, and I need to collate it on Excel to send out to let everyone know what's happening. There's lots of different tasks. As I said, it's different every day. So sometimes I'll be doing something very specific. Other days I'll be doing a whole range of different things for different people, which makes it fun. So I'll move on to see if anyone's got any questions for me. I think I saw one. What inspired me to be an engineer? I kind of just fell into it, really. I was inspired by the professor who gave me a talk at UCL. She spoke about her projects that she was doing. She was cultivating different seaweed strains to produce different omega-3s, so that we don't have to, so that we can get fish oil from seaweed and bacteria cultures. And I just thought it was absolutely fascinating to kind of work in a sustainable way and to develop new ways of doing things. I think like innovation was just exciting and I wanted to be a part of it. So I kind of fell into engineering, but I absolutely loved it and wouldn't change it. How often do I ride and take part in competitions? When I was doing my A-levels, it was pretty much every weekend. I still ride every single day, pretty much. As I said, I've got 3 horses, so that keeps me very busy. But I would say, yes, competitions pretty much every weekend still, or every other, probably. Have you ever tried to give up on your journey to becoming a project management engineer, and was it hard to become it? I guess when I'd graduated and I was applying to different jobs, it was very it was difficult to keep going, keep applying to different things. It's not very motivating when you don't get anything from a company who think your application was quite good and you were proud of what you put through on the application form, and then you don't even get a response or any feedback or anything. That's quite challenging to overcome. But yeah, something you just have to keep the mindset that you've worked really hard and someone's going to be lucky to have you, in a not cringe way. But yeah, something will fall into place and it just takes time. And when I look back, it was only 6 months or so that I was applying, which is such a short space of time, really. And it allowed me to ride every day, all day for a while and apply to different jobs. So yeah, it's just a different chapter.
I think we might just take one more
There's
question.
so many questions. Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us a bit more about why you picked those A levels? Because I think that's probably really, really relevant for this group.
Yeah. I picked them because I enjoyed them. I picked them because I was quite good at them at GCSE. And yeah, I was interested to learn more about them. I wasn't very good at essays, so I avoided that. I really enjoyed maths. I really enjoyed sciences. So they were A levels that I enjoyed and I thought would give me a broad opportunity for the future. So yeah, pick something you enjoy because A levels are hard.
That's really good advice. We've heard that a lot on these career spotlights this year, actually, that, you know, if you enjoy something, you're going to stay much more motivated. And
Definitely.
yeah, that's really good advice.
Roz, could I just add to that? There was something I learned many years ago. So and somebody said to me, and I've never forgotten it, is if you love your job, you never go to work. And it's as simple as that, isn't it? If you love something and you're working on something, then it never actually feels like work. So just hold that thought.
Brilliant, Nikki. That's a great bit of insight to end this little part of the conversation. Thank you. And for those who don't know Nikki works in the HR team at GE Vernova, so she's got years of experience, so she knows what she's talking about for sure. Let's move on to our second speaker, Caitlin.
Hello, everyone. So my name's Caitlin and I am the HR apprentice at GE Vernova. So this is me slide. So I've just got a few pictures to show you a bit more about my life. So you can see the picture of Stanley the sloth there. That was the sloth that I hand fed when I went to the zoo. And then my hobbies are a bit different. I'm a bit of a grandma at heart, so my hobbies include painting rocks and crocheting. I taught myself how to crochet by watching YouTube videos. Just something that I really enjoy doing. And then painting rocks. And then there's just a picture of me of things I like to do in my spare time. So I went axe throwing the other week, so I just put a